Within 60 days of ChatGPT coming out, we had a quarter of our business just disappear because the inquiry for that service dried up. We are in a magical moment of time for those that see the opportunity and move quickly with focus.
David Jenyns, systemologist and best-selling author of Systemology and System Champion. He's the AI guy, putting AI into businesses properly, and he's here to share where to start with AI, how to systemise with AI, and the case studies that prove it.
The task went from taking 1,000 man-hours over the course of the year down to 10 hours, because now all the human has to do is just eyeball it before they hit send. We also need to communicate this to our team, that the team member that uses AI will outperform the team member who doesn't tenfold. This is not optional anymore. And if you're not doing it, your competitor is.
Here we go. The biggest mistake that business owners make with AI is David Jenyns, systemologist, best-selling author, systems champion as well, and the AI guy for putting AI into people's businesses properly. Welcome to Flow Zone.
Pumped to be here. Yeah.
I'm pumped to have you here as well. David, I've read both of your books twice, as I've told you. We have had occasion to meet before at the Lean Marketing Asia Pacific Mastermind. And when you came on, I think there was a real breath of fresh air in the room because people are hearing about, look, we really need AI in our business. Like, my employee's got this tool and my wife's using this tool. And look, I've heard about this, but I don't know where to start. And they feel like almost more in chaos. Yet we're in the age of AI and personal brands. There are some foundational things that people need to do, but like you're obviously boots on the ground and helping people do this. So like, tell us, what are you going to be able to share with our audience today so that in this next sort of 40 or so minutes, they're going to get so much value out of it that like their business is pretty much going to transform as a result of implementing these things?
The biggest thing is focus. I want to show you where to get started, what you need to systemize first, what do you then need to get AI to start doing for you to transform your business. We are in a magical moment of time right now for those that see the opportunity and move quickly with focus.
I like that. Move quickly with focus. That's almost got to be like a proper phrase. It's like, think move slow with haste or whatever. You hear stuff
Yes.
like that. Well, let's get into it. Where do we need to start? Like, how do we focus? What's that first step?
Yeah, I think the first thing, I almost want to start with the idea of why to move quickly, because it's where I got started. I had this situation where ChatGPT came out. As soon as I saw it, just like thousands of business owners around the world, I thought this is going to change everything. And for us, we got hit straight away. Like some people were using ChatGPT to draft up email responses and, can you proofread this or that? Just small little things. But for us, part of our work is we document process for small businesses. So you can take a transcript from a video of you recording yourself doing a task, load it into ChatGPT, and then it'll come back with a draft of a process. We used to sell that as a done-for-you service. Within about 60 days of ChatGPT coming out, we had a quarter of our business just disappear because the inquiry for that service dried up. We have systemologists who would help business owners do this. I showed them ChatGPT, so maybe I kind of created this myself.
I reckon they would have found it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it, 900 million active users per week?
And that's what I thought. I thought, well, they're going to find it anyway, so I might as well show them. So, it was a challenging sort of period over sort of 12 months that followed. I tried to figure out what we're going to do with some team members, put some into some different seats, some we had to let go. But what it gave me is this sense of urgency that your business can change overnight and parts of it can just completely disappear from AI. And looking back now, I see it as a blessing because that got me to go, I've got to figure this out now. I need to go, where am I going to put my attention? Which parts of my business are we going to get AI to start doing? How do I reinvent what we're doing? And even I started to question myself on where does process play a part in business in the next 3 to 5 years? Is it still important if the machines are going to be doing all of these tasks?
And so what did you come up with in that? That's a really good question. Where does process play a part now that you can get your processes built that way?
The thing with AI is it has infinite possibilities. It can do just about anything that you ask it to. So you can ask it, hey, can you make an image of a cat holding a sign with my logo on it in a space helmet sitting on the moon? And it'll do it like that. But just because you can get it to do something doesn't mean you should get it to do something. And it's all about focus on thinking, well, which tasks in the business do we want the AI to work on? What are you actually already doing now? And that's why this whole idea of having a systemized business, getting clear on your core tasks and functions is so important, because then you ask the question, how does AI help us do what we're already doing faster, cheaper, and better? It's infinitely more effective to get AI improving your existing business and re-engineering parts than dreaming up of the millions of things it could be doing and trying to pluck something out of the air. So I realized process really is at the heart of this AI revolution. And those that are moving quickly, our best clients, are ones that are extremely process driven. And it's just one more step to say, okay, and now let's get the AI to do this thing we've already documented.
I learned a lot about process early in my career. Like my first entrepreneurial ventures were like, flipping motorbikes. So there was a bit of a process to that, but I didn't really document it, right? I kind of knew what I was doing, but I was in my teens. But when I went and worked at McDonald's, still in my teens, like I watched a global organization delivering consistency wherever it was, run on teenagers. And right, I'm sure McDonald's are at the center of some of your reference examples. Then I went to another industry, which was one I thought would be a lot less process oriented, which is the mining industry. I did trade and then moved into engineering. And you've got these big sweaty blokes, like really kind of rough and tumble, a lot of them. And they're down kilometers underground in the dark. But they are incredibly process oriented. There's checklists for everything. There's a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual meeting rhythm, and you think, wow, this place runs pretty well. Looking back on that, both of those industries had better systems than when I got into real estate. I couldn't believe it. We started in a franchise. I thought I was getting a business in a box. Like when you get a Subway franchise, like, where to order your lettuce from, how much to pay for it. You put a sign out the front, people come. And it was just the opposite. It was like, there's the brand and there's a bunch of stuff from like 100 years ago. Go and make it your own. Good luck. So I can see how having good process actually is foundational to having a good business. Some of the people listening to this are in businesses, but they might be in that hustle startup phase where they're just kind of like getting their first clients or customers. They might be in an established business that's doing pretty well and they're kind of like just trying to milk as much out of it as they can. And some of them might be in a process-oriented business, but I'm imagining that there's some foundational stuff regardless of like, where do we start with this? So how do you even figure out what is the number one process that I work on first, and what's a practical example of how they could get that sorted?
Yeah. Great way to think about it is, what value is the business actually delivering and whom are they serving? Like, how does the business make money? If you can systemize everything around how the business makes money and remove key person dependency so that it's not reliant on any one single person to get a task done in an organization, because that then helps you to scale. And anything that centers around the money, like you want to free all bottlenecks up around making money. So the way that we think about it is we first map, we call it the critical client flow, mentioned in the first book, but it's the linear journey that this prospect and client goes through to deliver a primary product or service. We just ask the question, how do we grab the attention of this target audience? How do we handle that incoming inquiry? What does the sales process look like? How do we onboard them? Do we collect money up front or do we collect it at the end? How do we then deliver the product or service? And then how do we hand it over and make sure that they come back and they're happy? We map this linear journey and we go, where in that journey are the bottlenecks? Where's the pain? Where do things get stuck? Where is it dependent on a certain person? What is it that we're doing at each one of these stages? And that actually becomes the perfect foundation for then asking, and where can AI help us do that faster, cheaper, and better? How do we plug some of the holes in that journey? So that's generally where we start.
Okay. Well, that's the CCF you talk about, the critical client flow. Okay. So how can we get like a practical example of that? Like what's a business you've done this in recently where you've gone in and like it could be any example of business, but I'm just curious to know. You've come in, they're in some sort of state. They're obviously an existing business, so they're already in the 10% that made it.
Yeah.
Out of the 5 years, 90% fail in the first 5 years in our country, so they're still alive.
Yeah.
But how are you helping them heat map where to go on that and to grow this muscle themselves so they're not just doing it as a one-shot thing?
Yeah. So firstly, you're right. It is a muscle, and a lot of small businesses just have puny systems muscles that they need help to build up. So we start with the critical client flow, and we always go with a process-first approach, and then we look to do the AI afterwards because we need to capture what it is that you're currently doing. And what you'll find is that as you feed this into AI, process becomes the programming of the machines. So we first need to get the lay of the land and what's going on in the business right now. We did this with a accountant out in Mornington, and she was very process driven, and she'd captured a lot of the processes, gone through, done the critical client flow and even beyond, and started to get various systems in the other departments in the business. She got a tremendous win just for going down the process path. Like she was making things more efficient. She was removing key person dependency. But the big win actually came when she started to think of it through the AI lens. And then she was like, which tasks are consuming a huge amount of time? Where are errors happening? Just one of the tasks she identified was she had a team member who would log into the ATO portal for each one of their clients every single week and note down any news updates or anything that needed to be passed over to the client. So very laborious process. And she got it documented. She ended up going, oh, maybe we can offshore this. So she actually moved it over to the Philippines and had a team member there following it for a while. And then it was a very small step. It was immediately obvious to her, well, hey, AI could probably do this because it's so process driven. I've got it very cleanly documented. Well, hey, let's now ask the AI to do it. The AI got trained with some automation and AI. It'll log in, pull the data, squirt it into a spreadsheet, draft up the email that gets sent to the client, have it ready for human review. And then the task went from taking 1,000 man hours over the course of the year down to 10 hours. Because now all the human has to do is just eyeball it before they hit send. Now, this is one of hundreds of tasks she's done that to. So you can just start to think about the math and the impact on that. And she is, for me, the gold standard because she had everything systemized beforehand. It was so easy to her and so obvious as soon as AI hit of, oh, yes, let's now do this. And she's systematically worked her way through the business, and it's been an absolute game changer.
That does sound like a very practical sort of breakthrough that someone can have. And I imagine that can be transferred across a lot of businesses. Like I'm a service company owner. We're a real estate group. Me being a founder that's in R&D mode now, for the last 3 years, I've been just building out our operating system. And it's getting better and better as I get better and better at utilizing the tools of AI that are available. And I had this moment today. It was a bit of a realization moment. Like I've been so head down building, and I still help the team, and jump into what is now a weekly Ask Mark Anything instead of just ad hoc support calls all the time. And, like 2 days out from the end of the month, a couple of days ago, right? I was at the senior leadership team meeting, and we were at 40% of our monthly sales target 2 days out. It's like, this is not great, and it's like there's this internal pull of me like, okay, get back to, maybe jump in, rescue some deals, whatever. I'm like, no, I've got a CEO. I've got like a full support team. I've got very senior people in the business. We've got great systems. They really need me to finish off the work I'm doing over the next couple of days. So we just kind of put a bit of a dead man switch in there that if something goes longer than this day and it's not done, you can call MK in, but otherwise, MK, just keep going because you've got stuff you need done by the end of the month. I got a text off our CEO at 2 p.m., like a bit over an hour ago, saying that we're less than 1% off our target now. We're at 60% short of it 2 days ago, and we're going to go over it by the end of the day. And I'm like, how did we just do that in that period of time? Well, we've built this system called Fishing Upstream System, which is like a really focused way of knowing where to point your focus as a business. Everyone's working on a daily, weekly, monthly meeting rhythm. A lot was corrected in the weekly meeting that happened after I jumped off the call with our senior leadership team. They pointed their focus at what they needed. They used every tool available to them. And now these things are dropping in at the end of the month, like literally on the last day of the month. Now, I prefer to hit our numbers about at 2/3 through the month in future if I'm going to put it out to the universe. But it was a really good feeling to go, you know what? Trust the process. You build a system and then the system can deliver the outcomes. So I think whenever there's a business that's breaking up its proposition into components like that, it's just reinforcement that it can be done. You can break things down from what seems like this big esoteric hope into a series of first principles tasks that can be done. And I suppose that's how AI likes to hear the words, right?
Yes, yeah. I think just understanding that every problem you have in your business is a systems problem. So you can go to work on the system. If you don't have enough leads, then it is a lead generation system that you got to go to work on. If you're not converting those sales, we'll go to work on your sales conversion systems. So it's approaching it with that frame and then understanding where you were at the 11th hour of, oh, we've really got to ramp this up. All of those problems that you needed to solve at that point in time were systems problems. So if you have a system that's backing it up or something that's ready to fire, okay, well, we have a system now that can scan our database and look for people with a high enough lead score that match our criteria, that we know are far enough along in the buying cycle that they're going to be ready to buy when I send this next email saying, hey, I need you to act within the next 24 hours and we'll give you this extra incentive. Like that is a system that can be built and engineered, and you'll have a range of systems that do different things. Some of them will be triggered. You will pull the trigger when you need it. Oh my God, I have to hit this deadline. Bang, the system is ready to go. Others will happen on certain rhythms and cadences that, okay, well, every single month at the same time, we need to create a financial report that is generated the same way and distributed out to the same leadership team at the same time, and it needs to just happen like clockwork. There's systems for that as well. So it's your business is a collection of systems, and some of them are documented, some of them aren't, some of them are trapped in your head. The goal is to bring everything that's invisible and make it visible. Like the system that's running your business and various tasks, let's get it documented. That gets it out of your head. And then it's as we talked about, the first step to then go, oh, okay. And now can some of these things be handed off to another human or delegated, or can it be handed off to an AI to do it for you? And then that frees you up to then handle bigger problems.
Well, let's just round the corner on this point. So the critical client flow, if I understand correctly, because I have read the book, but I just wanted to put it into the terms that make sense to our audience here. You're looking at your processes and starting usually where the money is made, like a new client or fulfilling on a current client, keeping a current client, so your retention and therefore your value and your margins are going up. Or it might be selling more widgets, that you have in your marketplace. You're having a look at those processes and saying, okay, what happens at the start of it? What happens at the end of it? And what are the key steps in the middle? And they're the critical client flow. I sort of think about it like if you're crossing a river and there's stones in the middle and you've got to hop the frog across. If you jump 2 steps, you actually just fall in the river and drown. If the frog can't swim very well, which would be weird, but you know what I mean? Or if you go 1 step, you'll eventually get over there, but there's got to be the right number of steps between. Is that a good read on how the CCF works?
And then a couple of other little nuances. One, we think in terms of who the dream client is. We don't want to systemise for every possible scenario. If we're going to systemise, we have to start somewhere. So why not start with your dream client? And equally, you've probably got a range of products and services that you sell. Just pick one and start with one product or one service, and then map the journey across that river that you're talking about, matching, what's the next stone? What's the next stone? And get really clear on that. Make sure that path is as smooth as possible. because your business already kind of works. And just because you don't systemize something doesn't mean it's going to magically stop happening. It's already working. So really what we're trying to do is just make a really clear path for this dream client. And anytime something falls outside of that, leave it to a more experienced team member who can operate without a process and can, handle that particular, the client chose a blue widget instead of a red widget. But don't design your systems around that. Just have one track, which is a great place to start, makes it easy for getting the team on board. It's also great for training new team members. Like when they're going to start something, give them the easy version.
So when you mean easy, high level, rather than covering every single nuance that could come up.
Rather than having a system that says, if it's a sunny day, we do this. If it's a wet day, we do that. But also it depends if the client has chosen a blue widget or a red widget. And we sometimes do it on site and sometimes they come into the studio. And sometimes, like when you've got too many variations like that, it's really confusing for someone to follow and systemize, and just having a singular path is the best place to start. Because if you can't do simple, you're never going to be able to do complex.
Okay. So someone's now used voice recordings, Loom videos, maybe some help from some, remote labor or something like that if they're going to be packaging things up. But largely it's been just handed off to the AI. It's then turning it into systems, procedures, SOPs that are going to be held in some software.
Yep.
Once we've got that done, what's next? How can we kind of turbocharge it? Where are we going next after that?
Yeah. So there's one or two more steps on this journey to systemization before we add in AI. The next step is what we call minimum viable systems, because the first set of systems, the critical client flow, is only about 10 systems. But there are other systems that are going on in your business that are super critical. Things like money coming into the business and out of the business, managing staff, recruitment, onboarding, those types of systems that maybe fall outside of that first critical client flow. So that's the next milestone. Generally, I say the magical number is 42 because we think about 7 systems in each of the key departments. There's marketing, sales, operations, finance, HR, and management. Now, everybody's business might be a little bit different. Maybe the names are different. Maybe some of those are squished together. But generally, that works pretty well for most businesses. And we say 7 systems in each. So imagine if you had to pick the most 7 critical systems that if the finance department didn't do those, it would fail on what it's designed to do for the business. So the finance department, as we said, it manages money coming in and out. Maybe it does things like wages, it's doing some reporting. You go through a process to identify the 7 most systems. Once you reach minimum viable systems, that means that systems spans across the entire organization. It touches every role, every department. Everybody has some level of exposure to process. Once you reach that, then we install a dashboard and we start to look at the numbers, what's going on in the business. And we use that philosophy we talked about earlier. Every problem in business is a systems problem. So we look at the dashboard and we say, where aren't we happy with these numbers? We don't have enough leads. We don't have enough, sales. We're having problems with delivery. Whatever the dashboard is picking up, we say, we're not happy with this. And then we say, well, that's a systems problem. And we go to work on the systems. Assuming that we've got those systems documented, then we start to look for the AI solution. And the AI solution, there's a few ways to approach it. Firstly, we go to the pain, because that's really what we're trying to solve. And sometimes there are easy implementations. Like it could just be, yes, we can create a prompt and we can add this into step 3 of our process. And now all of our team, when they get to step 3, they copy and paste this prompt into the AI and it speeds up the process and chops out 3 or 4 steps. So that's kind of like level 1. as we kind of progress down the path, then we can start to chain together the AI doing a range of different steps, because a prompt is kind of like one step, but we could have multiple that get put together. And that's when we might introduce an agent to do something, or it might be a specialized tool that can solve something. So, I mean, if we bring this back to real world examples, let's say, I mean, you guys are in the real estate game, and there's probably a lot of real estate agents listening right now. It's probably really important when your phone rings that you take that phone call, because that could be someone wanting to list their house, and the first agent they get onto might be the agent that they end up going with to sell their house.
It's a real thing, like speed to lead. Absolutely. Especially with the non-paying customer. Like in Australian real estate, most agencies are set up for selling properties or managing properties for the owner.
Yep.
But sort of like with Amazon, like they don't get paid off the buyer. They get paid off the vendor, the one selling. Right.
Yep.
But they make it so good for the buyer that they keep coming back, which feeds the whole flywheel.
Yes.
So my philosophy has been for many years, and what I've been really leaning into is, from a property concierge point of view, every inquiry type is important.
Yep.
And if we can get speed to lead and get back to a buyer within 5 minutes, if not within a couple of rings,
Yep.
that's like 40 to 80% of buyers have got a house to sell anyway, right?
Yep.
And if they're impressed by just doing a damn good job of what you're supposed to be doing, the chances of getting the yes when you find out that they've got a home to sell is dramatically higher.
Yeah.
Please carry on, because I just had to chime in on that point.
We've hit one of those pain points that we realize a lot of real estate agents have. It's how do we get back to all of those leads quickly when you're doing a walkthrough of a house or you're chatting with another client, you're unable to take that call. But if you don't take it, there's a good chance they might be going to someone else. So that's the problem. So we've mapped how we're currently doing things, and we've got those documented. We've installed a dashboard, and then we've uncovered this as a pain point. We realize, hang on, there is an issue here with the speed at which we get back to a lead. We look for an AI solution at this point in time. A prompt might not be the right solution here right now, but now we're starting to see voice agents come out that can be trained on your data, and we can set up a little bit of a, initial triage. The AI agent can ask some questions. Why are you calling? Is this to have your property managed? Are you looking to sell? Are you going to, whatever it is, it will greet them and guide them. And then we can even get it to the point where you then connect up your calendar and it'll go ahead and book the next appointment. And it just, hey, I'm your friendly AI agent. Just wanted to ask you a few questions. John is unable to take your call right now, but I want to make sure we get you booked right in and you chat with him shortly. Can I ask you 2 or 3 questions? Bang, 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 bang. Great. Well, John can chat with you tomorrow. I've got a couple of times available. Which one suits you best? Great. You picked your time? Okay, you've now booked in. By the way, I've just sent you an SMS, which has got the booking confirmation, and John will give you a call tomorrow. Like that is an AI solution solving a serious problem that can be an absolute game changer for the right business. But you have to know where to focus, because AI can do anything. The question comes down to, out of the anything it can do, what is the one thing that's really going to move your needle the most? And that's why process first, and it's infinitely easier for us to program that AI agent when we have your processes clear. We have them mapped. We have the information around what AI needs to know about your business to make that AI agent work.
I love this. Like, we are so on the same page. So,
Yep.
So, one of our first implementations that like the public could see with AI in Presence Group was I've put in a voice AI 24/7 receptionist for leasing, for property leasing, for tenants.
Love it.
Right? So I wanted to start somewhere where there's a lot of friction. There's a lot of dissatisfaction with what goes on nationally with property management. It's very hard, on the defense of the property management companies, it's very hard to resource this service because what a lot of people don't realize, like let's say a property management is like $750 a week, which might be very cheap in some areas. It might be dearer in others, right? I'll just use 1,000 for easy numbers, right? 1,000 is quite a medium to high rent in a lot of places of Australia. But you might get between 5 and 8% of that rent gross for looking after the property, right? So think about it. You're getting between $50 and $80 per week to look after this property. And you've got a team of people. One senior property manager could be in the order of $50+ an hour.
Yep.
Right? So if they've got to spend an hour of their week, you've actually just spent the whole gross revenue of that.
Yep.
That's not the profit. If you get 20% profit out of that, if you get $20 a week out of that $100 or, like $20 out of that $70, that's amazing. $14, whatever it is. And so how do you have a 24-hour receptionist? You can't. You just can't do it. You can't resource it. But then how do all these people get answers? Now, you can give a lot of stuff on the web, but some people want to talk to a human.
Yep.
So I thought I'm going to start with the friction is, and I'm going to iterate on that. And I've put about 70 or 80 hours into it before we set it live. And I took responsibility for it personally because I thought it's my company and I don't want to be blaming anyone else. It's now live. It runs. I mean, I can give it a demo now. This is going to be live and candid. Let's see how it goes. I don't know if it'll come through on the mic, right? But I'll give it a go. You know how hard it is to get hold of a leasing agency and ask them questions?
Hard.
It's hard, even during business hours. It's hard.
Yeah.
Right? I won't do anything and embarrass any other businesses doing that. And this might not work perfectly, but this is what's on foot right now.
Hi there, this is Peter speaking, Presence Real Estate's AI leasing assistant on a recorded line. May I start with your name and which specific property or suburb you're inquiring about?
Yeah, it's Mark here, and I'm just looking for a property around the inner city of Newcastle, if you've got any.
Sure, Mark. Did you mean the Newcastle City Centre itself or anywhere in the broader Newcastle area?
Newcastle City Centre, yeah, the suburb of Newcastle. Have you got anything there?
I have a few properties in Newcastle. Would you like to hear about one of them?
Yes, please.
2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1 car space, and a weekly rent of $850. What would you like to know about it?
Oh, great. When can I inspect that?
The inspection is scheduled for Saturday the 2nd of May from 10:30 to 10:45 in the morning. Would you like to know anything else about this property?
Can you send me anything on it?
Is the number you're calling from the best one to send the link to?
Yes, it is.
I'll send you a link to http presence.real estate/properties for rent. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, that's all. Thank you. That was interesting, that last little bit.
That is an example of extraordinary because there is no way that a business not using that technology can now compete with you. You install little systems and processes and AI into your business like that, and the business that has AI will be able to deliver faster, cheaper, and better than any of its competitors. And
that's
there's
the
a
goal.
window of opportunity here.
I think it's a window. And thanks for the compliments, by the way. Coming from you, it means a lot. It wasn't perfect at the end. You heard it started reading the URL instead of just saying, I'll just send it to you. But that's fine. I think the thing is, what I've learned about AI, because I came from an engineering background before I opened a real estate business years ago, and we used to program much simpler things called PLCs, programmable logic controllers. And it's like, even if you're programming something deterministic like that, what I've learned about AI is you've got to treat it like an employee, not like a software tool.
Yep.
So you've got to train it. And I've got that recording now, and so do the team. It's in the CRM already.
If you had a junior leasing agent on the phone who took that call, a real person, and it's their first week or their first day, they're going to make stupid mistakes like that too. They would sit there and pass on the wrong phone number, forget to ask for the phone number, not enter the details into the CRM.
Yeah.
You treat the AI like you would treat any employee, and it trains and it learns over time.
So now what we've gone to next, I'm in testing at the moment for my EA. So basically, I've had my phone hard diverted for about 5 years. So I don't personally take inbound calls. It just disrupts my flow too much. I always have a human answering it. But if they're not available, it goes to voicemail, or if they're in the middle of something, it can drop off, right? So I've got now a version of that AI, but with more avatars, not just one. Like, because I've got people contacting me about investment opportunities in property technology, or an agent that wants to come and work for our brand, or like a team member that might be calling me for something, or a client from back in the day that I need to hand off to a team member so they can go and sign it up. And so I've got 8 avatars and a general on this one. I'm about 2 weeks into it, and I reckon in about 2 more weeks of training, I'll be ready to hand that off to all of my sales agents.
Yeah.
And most of my sales agents, like, they're top performers. Like, they're 300% the average production, right? Some are 10x.
Yep.
And when they have previously hired EAs or PAs, the main thing that they were hiring them for was to handle overflow inquiry of any kind, right? Getting back to voicemails, getting back to buyers, like processing. Like that was the main laborious activity. You think about that human now that has been an EA or a PA, now they can be a value creator. They don't have to be just handling phone calls in between other jobs. They can actually be delivering value to the client. So as a business owner, I think this is a responsibility. What are your thoughts about like how founders should be approaching this right now? We've got people depending on us inside our business. How do you manage this rub of like needing to get on and do business and also having time to go and investigate what's worthwhile doing in AI and what's not?
I think the most important thing that you can do is it's always lead by example. So you need to start adopting and playing around with this new technology so the team sees, yes, the leader is doing it. That's a key thing. We also need to communicate this to our team, that the team member that uses AI will outperform the team member who doesn't tenfold. This is not optional anymore. You need to start learning and adopting this now or you will get left behind. And that's you coming from a genuine place of care for your team member because they need to understand that this is happening globally and this is not just isolated to the company that they work in. You adopt this technology or you get left behind. I think there's some real key things that you need to start doing. And as part of that education, I mean, the hardest bit is change management. It's the same when we think about process and building out a process-driven culture. It's the same with AI and adopting this new technology and reaching the point where we say, this is how we do things here. Like that's really when you know you've made it, when you're not in the room, a new team member's come on board and the fellow team member is sitting next to them. They ask them a question and the team member says, this is how we do things here. We look at the process and we follow it this way. We use AI and we get to the answer quicker. No, we go to the central knowledge base and ask the question there first before we go to the boss and ask them a question. And we try and solve our own problems ourselves using the knowledge base and the AI before it ever gets escalated. And that's a cultural thing that first we need to train our existing team. And then more importantly, longer term, we need to recruit and onboard people to fit into that culture from day one. Because all of the resistance to this new change in technology actually only happens with your existing team. But if we recruit and part of that recruiting process finds people that love technology, want to learn about systems and processes and using AI, and they want to fit into that exciting sort of cutting edge business, great. Well, we'll identify that person up front and then we'll plug them in and then the system's there to train them. One thing I talk about was actually in the second book, they ran a test. It was a group of psychologists in 1975 and they had a group of actors standing in an elevator facing the wrong way. And then they had one unsuspecting participant who would step into the elevator and like any guesses on what they would do? Like without fail, everybody that stepped into that elevator who wasn't the actor turned and faced the wrong way. It was very clearly and obviously the wrong way, but everybody else was doing it. So they just followed whatever the group was doing. Now, if we take that same thinking, like it shows how much humans desire to fit in and we'll just go with the flow. So we want to think about what is the elevator of your business? When people step into your business, what is everybody doing in what direction is everybody pointing? Because the new hire will face and point that same way.
I think that's such a valuable point. Like when we became presidents, one of the key things we did is we renamed our values. We didn't change them. They were fundamentally all still there, but some of the words were too easy to apply your own meaning to. So one of them about being innovative had been in various names over a number of years. And we just said, you know what? We need to change this to change agent.
Yep.
Right. First of all, it's got to play on words because, agency, real estate agents. But we have to be good with change. We have to actually want change. We actually have to lead change.
Yep.
And, if they're true core values, like Lencioni talks about, you're willing to hire and fire on them, right?
Yep.
Not for one misdemeanor, but for continued behavior against that standard. And it was really hard, but we had to let a lot of people go over a period of time, and they kind of vote with behavior.
Yep.
They're like, nah, I'm not doing it. I've been here a long time. I'm important. F you, And it was hard, really hard. But now I look at the percentage of the team, and we've right-sized our team a lot. And not because we wanted to. Like, we've actually allowed our revenue to come down. We're still making the same amount of dollar profit, believe it or not. And this is a sales team specifically. It's really been in the sales team. It's team members that have been there a long time that we gave a lot of opportunity to come on board.
Yep.
Spoon-fed systems to, spoon-fed leads and opportunities to, and they just wouldn't go and hit that lead speed to lead. They wouldn't go and do that pre-prep before they went out. They wouldn't use the process that we'd given them that has proven to work over and over again. And then when they weren't performing, they go, what are you going to do for me?
Yeah.
It was like, well, there's nothing more we can do because you keep just throwing opportunities out the window. Our clients are missing out. Our team members are dropping their standards watching you guys. You're meant to be role models. We just can't continue like this, and then they're stomping their feet and stuff. And it's just like, maybe it's better to work somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's months leading up to it. And then they go and there's a big blaze of glory and everyone's like, yeah, I thought so. And it's hard, right? But I think now's the time more than ever to be courageous around embracing what's coming. This is not a case of where it's like a flash in the pan thing that people might try out and it's like, some cool little party trick and then it's gone. Like, it's genuinely, in my opinion, it's bigger than the internet coming on board. Like, now the internet has connected people globally. It's helped level out communities and all that sort of stuff. Amazing. And then he brought social media, which connected people together and ran businesses through the palm of the hand, which also allowed us to develop personal brands and all this sort of stuff. But really, they were just continuations of things already happening.
I think that's the big key. Anytime that exponential technology builds upon itself, it gets to benefit from all of the pipes that were built prior. So we had mobile phones, okay? And then that moved things a bit quicker. Then we put the internet on top of that. The reason the internet moved so quickly is because it could build off that network. Now we've got AI, which gets to build off the internet. So that's why every new technology that gets layered on moves the quickest. So that's why you need to act now, because of the speed at which this one's moving. It's moving quicker than anything that we've ever seen before. Some industries, you're noticing the change instantly. I felt it when we had to let go of some of those documenters.
Yeah.
But there are some real estate agents out there or plumbers who are sitting there going, well, I'm a little bit safe. They haven't got a robot yet that will go out and unblock your toilet. So, maybe I don't need to worry about this AI thing just yet. And I'll move a little bit slower. What they don't realize is every role in every department is getting nibbled away. So it might not be you unblocking the toilet right now, but it's the AI agent that is sending out the invoice and following up or answering the phone, as we talked about
giving
earlier.
A quote, diagnosing the quote.
Onboarding team members, handling. And if you're not doing it, your competitor is. And they are doing it more efficiently, more cost effectively, which means they can outspend you to acquire a customer because they have more profit there.
Yeah.
So it's that's really what I want someone listening to this right now, that they pick up the sense of urgency. This is not I need to think about this later. This is I need to start acting on it now, because the longer you wait, the less opportunity you have to adjust, and you back yourself into more of a corner with less options. And before you know it, you'll wake up and you will be the next Kodak or Blockbuster or whatever it is, the company that failed to innovate. The writing is on the wall. Start acting now.
That's a great message. I love it. Now, look, one of the things, I will shout this out before we wind up. You have a great business, right? Your 2 books are no-brainers to listen to or read. Systemology was the first one that came out. That's where we learn about critical client flow. You could literally train an employee that would be one of the most valuable people your business has ever had off that book alone. Then Systems Champion with the AI addition in there was like, okay, now this is like not only modern, but it's like a how-to guide of how to take that to the next level. But you have a business that basically trains up consultants that help with this, if I've got the kind of wording of that right. And I have met one of your chief systemologists, and they are sharp.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So like, I just wanted to shout that out because people can find you. We'll link you in the show notes. I want to just do because we're really out of time. It's just gone awesomely well. This is what the flow zone is all about. So I'm going to do rapid fire.
Yeah,
and it allows us to cover some topics quickly. So I'll just start the sentence and you finish it. Okay. And I just write these down, right? Yeah. Okay. So here we go. The biggest mistake that business owners make with AI is
not getting it to focus on solving a specific problem.
That's a good enough answer because like you've got the long form version of that earlier and it makes total sense. You know, like give it something that's measurable as an outcome rather than just a generalist that's kind of never finishing anything off. I like it. Next one, your personal favorite AI tools. Your favorite 3 tools in your AI stack at the moment are?
I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
I am absolutely obsessed and in love with Claude Code. I think it is the greatest tool ever invented by mankind. What it can do is extraordinary. It takes a little bit to persist with at the start, and maybe an easy version for someone to get started with is Claude Cowork.
Yeah.
But if you want to go kind of like all in on Claude Code, it is like a super weapon.
Yeah. Look, whenever I recommend Claude to someone, I say like, get in there and chat around, but then just ask it how to use Claude Code and it'll just talk you through it. And if you want to have that nice interface, just use Cowork because it's like even more vibe codey than Claude Code.
The magic of what it can do is the way it can pipe into your tools.
Yeah.
So you can connect it to your HubSpot or your Go High Level. You can pull in your Xero bank details and have it pull data in from there. You can have it work from spreadsheets. It can reach into your Google Drive. It can look in your email and your calendar. It can reach in everywhere, which gives it tremendous visibility.
Yeah.
And then you can ask it some really intelligent questions and it'll go do stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. If someone is an employee in a business and they've got a boss that doesn't seem to be very pro AI, what should they do?
Go find a new boss. Look, I reckon bosses, that they want outcomes. So what I would start to do is find out some problems that they've got and then solve them with AI and get a tremendous outcome. And then you will get any business owner on board. They are looking at the bottom line, dollars and cents. And if you can show them how AI makes that number go up, you got their vote.
I love it. David, what a great systemised way to end right on the end of the buzzer here. David Jenyns, thanks for coming on Flow Zone.
Pleasure. Thanks.